Welcome back. Now, the Minister of Finance and Public Enterprises, Iipumbu Shiimi, is preparing to table the 2023-24 budget in the National Assembly on Wednesday. And as the nation waits in great anticipation for what the government has planned for the country this financial year, we would like to look at the budget that is about to come to an end and also see what is anticipated from the upcoming budget announcement and the factors that might influence it. And for that conversation this evening, I'm joined on the line by public policy analyst, Dr. Marius Kudumo. A very good evening, Dr. Kudumo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Now, Doctor, what do you make of the financial year that is about to come to an end in a nutshell? Has it been a good or a bad one for the country?
Yeah, I think we need to contextualize it from the background where we are coming from. This budget is coming from the pandemic years, the COVID-19 years. Therefore, it cannot be good in terms of economic growth, in terms of the impact, especially on people who have lost their jobs, as well as on livelihoods in general. And generally, we are witnessing increasing prices of commodities and cost of living. So against this background, the budget is actually not that good for the majority of the people because of the contextual conditions under which it was developed and under which it was implemented.
All right. Now, Doctor, the education and health sectors have historically been the recipients of the biggest chunk of the budget. Will we see this trend continuing this year?
Yeah, we are likely to see the same trend, basically because the issues of quality and equity in our education system, as well as in our public health system, has not been adequately addressed. And obviously, also we have inadequate infrastructure, both for education as well as the provisioning of health. Therefore, we are likely to see the same trend.
All right. Now, Doctor, apart from the education as well as the health sectors, which other sectors do you foresee being a priority on this year's budget and why?
Yeah, obviously, as I've explained, you are looking at economic growth. So the economic sectors, I suspect they will be looked at. The issue of job creation, the issue of food security, the issue of the energy security, generally the welfare of people, including housing, especially urban housing, are suspected to be priority areas in this budget.
All right. Now, Doctor, what are some of the external factors that could affect the upcoming budget?
Yeah, we have global commodity prices that normally fluctuates, and Namibia being an export of raw materials, this impact on the economy and on the budget. There are also geopolitical issues, conflicts in both the world as well as the continent of Africa. The issue of energy security and the increasing prices of commodities and cost of living are likely to have an impact on this budget, especially the global and geopolitical issues. They will have an impact.
All right. Now, in your view, what do you think everyday Namibians are expecting from this very important announcement come Wednesday?
Yeah, a budget generally is an instrument. It's a tool to distribute resources. And therefore, as I have indicated, issues of poverty, the housing crisis, food security might be issues of the budget. But I think in terms of being an instrument of allocating and distributing resources, it's important for Namibia to begin to look at different budgeting scenarios. So we can't continue with historical budgeting of this sector always receiving the highest or most of the resources because of what has happened in the past. I think it's important for us to begin to look at different budgeting scenarios, including a needs-based budget, so that the budget speaks to the welfare and to the needs of the people.
All right. Doctor, are you saying that the budget right now doesn't speak to the welfare and it doesn't prioritize people?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I mean, you can see if you look at education and health, even if you look at especially social and economic inequalities, remember that we are getting into 33 years of independence. Our social and economic inequalities are not decreasing. They are based on class, depending on whether you are in the middle class, upper class, or the working class. It's still based on race. So if you are in the rural areas, you are likely not to have the same access to social and economic services. Therefore, the budget has not adequately addressed those issues. You are seeing it in education, you are seeing it in health, you are seeing it in general conditions of life. That's why the urban-rural migration or rural-urban migration is a major issue. It speaks to the developmental framework because the opportunities are still in urban areas. Therefore, people are coming to the urban areas. If that developmental framework will change, that the rural areas are developed, we'll see people moving into the rural areas because it's about opportunities for life, for a better life.
All right. Doctor, any final remarks before we let you go this evening?
Yeah, I think a budget is an important instrument. The citizens need to see how the resources are allocated. I appreciate that the Ministry of Finance has begun a process of consulting with various sectors, including civil society organizations that generally represent the working class, to make their input in the budget. So let's see how the resources are allocated and distributed, and let's also continue in monitoring how those resources are actually implemented, the resources that are allocated. So it's a very important instrument. It affects everyone. Therefore, everyone must have an interest. Thank you.
Dr. Kudumo, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We appreciate you so much. All right. Public policy analyst Dr. Marius Kudumo talking to us there, giving us his analysis on the 2022-2023 budget. They're seeing that this Wednesday, the Minister of Finance and Public Enterprises, Iipumbu Shiimi, will be tabling the 2023 to 2024 budget. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more.